morning, everybody. Natalie coming to you live. Spirit and coffee. Okay, got my coffee here. For those of you on Podbean, please let me know if you can hear me. I'm not using my mic today because apparently there were some issues. There's no one on here now, so as soon as people get on, I'll be asking if you guys can hear me. And I have a pretty loud voice. I can project pretty good. All right, let's get started. Love my coffee today. It tastes so yummy. So what I've been doing is reading from the Kundalini, and the Kundalini Rising, which is a good book, and uh, it's a book about exploring the energy of the awakening. Now, Kundalini, again, is an ancient practice. It's an old practice. People used it to sort of open up what they call the chakra systems or the energy fields within the body to sort of connect to their stellar body, or I should say their astral body, whatever, however you want to call it. Okay. There's different words for these things. Um, and so they're interchangeable, and maybe there's some distinction in some of the words that are being expressed, but still it is for you to connect to your divine self, right, to your greater self. And that's what the Kundalini does. It opens up that gate. It allows us to receive information from higher places that we don't understand. So by connecting in, sometimes we receive these downloads or information from something greater than us. And so the Kundalini's, good morning. Good morning, Auntie Christine. Good morning. I don't know who that was. I just got on. Good morning. If I don't say good morning to you, please say good morning. It's because I didn't see you who it is. Okay. So I sort of want to go over what that is and how do we utilize Kundalini energy for ourselves in our daily lives. Okay. So was reading one of the essays from this person. Of course, I go on and on and on because that's what I do. Okay. So Joshua, good morning. Joshua. I like that name. It's a pretty name or a nice name. Okay. The awakening of the Kundalini, there are several basic chakra energies that we talked about. The question always arises, what do we have to master? Really, what we're set out to do is master ourselves. It's not about mastering other people. It's not about trying to master nature and all these things, right? We're here to master our own self. And in mastering ourself, we start to co-create with the elements around us. So it's not a mastering or having control over natural law. It's co-creating with natural law. And this is a distinction that I understood later on in life, right? Because people want to like I always said, I want to be like Storm, right? Good morning, Sandra. Sandra, let me know if you can hear me on the Podbean, please. Thank you. Um, so I always kind of wanted to be like Storm. Now, I don't know if you guys have watched, I think it's the X-Men or, I'm not a big superhero follower, but I do like some of the movies and stuff, and I've watched them. And in the movie, Storm, she can actually alter the weather patterns, and I thought, wow, that would be really cool. And I used to think, could I do that, have control over? And it's not. Then I had this realization that that's not what is happening, right? What is happening is there's a partnership with the elements. Okay, the elements. Thank you for letting me know. Good, you can hear me. Awesome. Having co-created with the elements, right? Being in a partnership with the elements, not having control over. And this is the big problem that we as humans have with the human ego. We want to control everything. Okay, we want to be in control of it. Now, the reality is that we're never in control of it. All we can do, right, is work with what we have in our internal world. So the Kundalini allows us to look internally at what is happening. What does the universe inside you say? What is the universe inside my Auntie Christine? What is the universe inside Joshua, Sandra, all the people that show up here? What is your internal universe telling you about you? What is it saying? And then understanding that will allow you to express it outward into living proof of who you feel you are, right? At that particular moment. Now, is it a constant? No, because we have each moment we're evolving into different things. There's some probably general archetypes, meaning some personality traits that you have that you sort of go to, right? And yes, just let it happen. Exactly. Let it happen. And so for us, it's being able to understand the experience that's happening within us so that then we can co create and partner with the elements. We're not controlling the elements, we're simply participating in it. We are participants of this life. Now, we know where we're at right now, and I think everybody's experiencing it right now, is what we call coercion, where people force you into submission into what they think you should be doing. Okay. And that's going to get a little crazier. I can tell you that right now. The force of what quote unquote these people agendas, I don't know who they are because it's hidden from us, right? We can say what are the people that are trying to create an agenda. There is an agenda playing out right now, okay? And that's for certain. Everybody has an agenda. Now, the agenda, sometimes people will do it at the cost of others and not care. And that's part of the human condition. Is it right, wrong, good, or bad? No. It's neither, but it's uncomfortable and it's not the correct way, right? And I say correct in terms of it's not going to bring harmony and peace. It's not going to bring tranquility. It's going to continue to perpetuate the duality of our existence, which is not true. There is no duality. We are all one. Okay. We are all one under the same sun. We can't separate ourselves from that. And we could try to go to Mars, but we're still one under the universe and we're still one under God or creator or whatever you call Yahweh, however you say it, right? We're still one under that. You can't be outside of it. Doesn't even make sense. Okay. Nature, nature and science. We can say science too. I know people are very science left brained right now. Some people, and science is part of God too. So we can't deny that. Science can neither actually, we can even go into that, but okay, I'm not going to go there. Science is trying to find our origins, right? How did we begin? How did all this happen? How did all this matter show up? And they can't answer that question. Why? Because we're too insignificant. We're too tiny in this bigger scope of God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. This big nebulous thing that's happening, this unfolding of events, however you say it. Okay. Now, so in that, I have come up and understanding how do we make sense of the chaos that's happening right now? How do we begin to sort of pick apart and figure out what is true for us and what is not true? What is, there's so much information right now and nobody knows. I mean, I think people don't really understand that there's other things that are happening behind the scene that we are not a part of, right? There's conversations happening with big leaders that we're not in the room to hear. Okay. We don't understand what exactly is going on. Okay. We just know bits and pieces, and then we don't know if the news is real and all this. Okay, so who cares, right? For me, it's like, all right, whatever, it's over with. Now, how do we co-create with nature within ourselves? How do we awaken our kundalini so that we can then be participants within the natural world and that we can co-create within the natural world and that we can actually go out and be of service, or we can have our altruistic gifts to give, or whatever it is, right? That we want to give back to the world. So that takes practice of waking up. Part of that is Kundalini, right? Opening up the chakras, realizing what's around you, mastering your own emotions, mastering your own body, learning how to eat the proper foods for your body, learning all of these things for yourself. Okay. Now, instead of pointing fingers like you need to do this. Good morning, Tom. Pointing fingers and telling people this is what you have to do is you don't even know what you have to do. How are you going to point fingers? You don't even know what you have to do. And I can tell you the majority of people on the planet don't know what they need to do. They don't understand their mental space. They don't understand their physical body. They don't understand their emotional body. They don't understand their astral body. They don't even know all this stuff, right? I don't. I'm still learning myself always, constantly. Like, I don't know if we'll ever know fully, right? So until we ascend into something greater than us, then maybe the lights go on and we understand everything. Um, oh, have a good day too, Tom. So we ourselves are masters of ourselves. Okay. Looking at how do I master me? How do I master myself? In the kundalini, in the chakra systems, in the cleaning out of the energy fields that allow us to connect into our stellar body, our higher self. Now, here's the deal. To make this chaos in the sense, here's what I have come up with, what is about to happen, okay? What is happening, foresight, patterns, whatever you want to call it, that we know that this world is not going to go back to the way it was. Okay. And if it's not going back to the way it was, how do we start to prepare for what's to come? Now, this particular event threw everybody off shock. Most people knew that something big was coming. Most people who are constantly working on their own individual self and are constantly looking for truth and trying to discover what truth is, right? Um, they will have felt that something was coming. Okay. If you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotting. Have a great day. Thanks, Joshua, for that. Okay, all I know is there's a virus out there killing people, and this is in the Bible. God warned us of things to come um, towards the end. Yeah, there is, and there's documents on Revelations and all that kind of stuff. Okay, and so we know that we're in a time of transformation. Okay, and it's not about being afraid. Okay, that's the biggest thing I think right now is everybody's being fed fear, and for a purpose, not fed fear because they want you guys to panic and all this, but because the ego is fighting for survival and the ego feeds on fear. And so we have nothing to fear. Why do I say that? Yes, there are people that may be getting diseases, but we've had diseases around forever. And we still have not been afraid to leave our houses. We've gone out, we've done what we need to do. And some people have been like, okay, I accept that I may die, because that's an acceptance of like, yes, this is part of the story. This is part of it. Now, is this not being empathetic? No, this is just factual stuff, right? Of course, we have empathy and sadness for the people we lose. I've lost a lot of people in my life, very sad, but it's a known. We know this, right? And we can't stop it. Okay. It's not up to us to stop it. What's up to us is for us to get our head space correct, get our head, mind, spirit, body, everything aligned so that we can then deal with what is actually showing up. What is happening? How do I make sense from all of the craziness around me? How do I begin to put it into something that's meaningful, right? Instead of being caught up in the tornado whirlwind and never finding my way out. Okay. So, a lot of this is bringing up a lot of triggers for a lot of people. A lot of people are, if you look around, you'll see that people are questioning their political views right now. They're questioning their belief in God right now. They're questioning, you know, their free what freedom is, or their freedoms. They're questioning their families. They're questioning everything has been bubbling up to the surface, and now it's been put in your face all at once. Not the nicest way. But here's the deal. Unless we surrender to natural law, to God's law, to Yahweh's law, to the universal law, unless we surrender to nature's law, or it's going to continue. It's going to continue. It'll continue to happen. Okay. Until we actually say, I surrender. I am not in control of this. You can't control it all. All you can do is control yourself. Know yourself. Master yourself. Not an easy task. Good morning. Good morning, Padwin. Good morning, Mel. Good morning, Hobo. Chillin'. Good morning, Roops. Okay, so here's sort of what I've come up with, okay? And this is really cool. The ones that are on here, yay, that's awesome. There's all of like 5 people, which is it's good. That means that the message is meant for a small few people. Okay, that's how I always say it. Whoever shows up, shows up. Whoever gets a message, gets a message. Okay, so I've sort of split it up into two things. We understand, and the way that I understand it, okay, again, this is all just what has come to me. Will it change? Possibly. Is it set in stone? Not necessarily. But is it a way for me to understand the information? Yes. Okay. So here's kind of how I feel is going on. We are certainly at a new era. All of we know that we're going from Pisces to Aquarius. Okay. This is all factual stuff in the constellations where we're actually positioned in the astro in the stars. Okay. And we know that we're moving into a new era. The Mayan calendar, all these things told us that this was the new era. Okay. We're closing the portals to Pisces, okay, which was before, right? And Pisces was the fish. So if you look at a lot of the historical, what they talked about historically, they talked about the fishermen, they talked about, fish. It was a big thing. Now we're going into Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the era of technology, and we knew technology was coming. And I was talking to my mother the other day about technology and how much it has transformed just within 20 years, and maybe longer, 25 years, we'll say. We went from having zero cell phones to where we are now, where the cell phone can be projected out into everybody's home and people can tune in, right? So, this right now is the evolution of technology, which has just exploded. Now, here's the deal, we don't know what other technologies they have out there because I'm not in the field of technology. I do know that I do a little bit of research and understanding, and that they have 3D printers. We know this. I think they've come out with that. The 3D printers, they're looking at how we can genetically modify body parts and blah blah blah, all these things, right? And we have cyborgs. Cyborgs are simply people who have other parts that are not part of their body attached to them. They have hands that can feel now, that are computer. They're connected to computer and they can move, right? So if someone lost a limb, they can plug this digital arm in and it actually moves with their brain because they can connect the wires to the brain. So they're using technology in a way that is beyond what we even understand at this point, right? Or some of us might know technology. I personally am not I see it, I know what's going on, don't really 100% know how it works, okay? All of it. On the other spectrum, we know that there are robots. We had a robot who got citizenship, right? A robot actually is a citizen. It's already a citizen of, um, I can't the United Nations, right? The United Nations said, the United Nations gave a robot citizenship. So this robot is like a human. Okay, it's not human, but it looks like human. Okay, now what I foresee happening, right, is that technology, because the advancement of technology works so fast, is that we will start to see robots in the streets. Okay, they've already done it. It's already happening. They have robots in Japan. It's already happening, right? We just haven't seen it on the streets, or maybe we have and we just don't know it, right? This is not some conspiracy theory sci-fi. This is truth. This is go on. You can see that there was a robot who was given citizenship, and there was an interview done with the robot by people and individuals. Good morning, Rick. So the digital era is going to bring us some really crazy technologies. Good on one end. And then, of course, there's always, because we live in a 3D world and because we live in the world of duality, not so good stuff. Okay. So there's going to be the good and then there's going to be the not so good. That's the way it works here. Okay. I didn't make it up. This is just the way it is. Okay. The good are the stuff that's going to give us positive repercussions. We're already seeing it. If we didn't have as many manufacturers polluting the skies and all that stuff, okay, so if we had cars that weren't emitting um, greenhouse gases and all this other stuff, pollutants, and they were driving on their own. So they already have trucks that are going to be driving on their own, right? These trucks that can take all this stuff. So we have cars that drive on their own that they're doing. Eventually, I think it's going to look sort of like the Jetsons. I mean, I think we've projected that that's what it's going to be. Okay, so what does this mean? It means that they're building a matrix and computers sort of tapping into computers, right? And being tapped into the web or to the system. Okay. Listen to what it's called: World Wide Web. It's a web. Okay. The web keeps us interconnected. And there's this censorship that we understand that comes with that, right? If you're tapped into the web, then everything you do is going to be tracked. Everything we do now is tracked, right? We're tapped into the web right now, being on our phones. The difference being that this phone is independent of me. In other words, it's outside of me. So if I decide not to take my phone, I won't be tracked. But everywhere I take my phone, which is everywhere, and that's everybody pretty much, what is that? What happens? They know where you're at. Okay. Doesn't matter if you turn it off or whatever. Your phone is turned off, the camera can still be tapped into, all these things, right? Okay, fine. So, what I see happening is the digital era is on the rise. Now, in history, okay, we know, okay, that there was a time, right, when when you kind of go into this new era, every time there's a new era, there's an opportunity for you to, and this is my belief, I'm not saying it's true, but this is how I've made sense of this through dispositionalism, kind of understanding that just a little bit, which I need to get more into, but also understanding all of the other past historical events that happened, is that there's sort of like this portal, right, that kind of opens, and we know that. Now, in that time frame, what I believe is that there's an opportunity for people to choose. Well, choose what? People might say, what am I choosing? Okay, I believe that you have the opportunity to choose reincarnation, which is the digital era, meaning that you will participate in the new era. I choose to participate in this era, or you would choose to ascend and not participate. Now, here's the deal: neither one, right, wrong, good, or bad. Neither one is to be feared or to be afraid of. The only reason people fear things is because they don't understand it. They don't read up on it. Do research, do your research and understanding on it. What does that mean if we step into a digital era? What does that mean? If I fully accept the digital era, what does that mean for me? I'm going to tell you that there's a few things that you're going to have to do. And this is going to be where I believe the big, huge disconnect between humanity happens, where we might see war, famine, all these things, is that some people are not going to want to choose into the digital era. They're going to fight it. Now, do I believe we need to fight it? No, no. We can, we can simply choose out of that. If we choose, we can say, I choose out. I don't choose to participate. And I'm going to go in peace over here. What does that mean, though? What does it mean if I don't participate in the digital era? And I'm going to tell you the biggest thing that's going to cause this to happen is our digital codes that are going to be inserted in us. It will happen. It's already happening in China. Go do your research. They're doing it in China. They're doing it in Japan. They do it in Asia. They're going to microchip you. It's going to happen. And here's the big thing. And here's why this is going to cause a split and chaos amongst the masses. I don't think in the first phase they're going to force it upon us. It's going to be, people are going to say, I opt into this. I choose to do this. So the people that they're going to want to get this chip are going to line up to get it because there's going to be people who want to. Then you're going to have the people show up and say, "Why are you doing that? Wake up, that's not of God." Then you're going to have the people who are going to fight and say, "I will never get a chip." And I think it's going to evolve eventually that way. Now, if you looked at prophecy from the Bible, and I think people are talking about this mark of the beast and all this stuff. Okay, it's not to be afraid of, you guys. It's not a fear-based thing. What it is it's afraid because people don't understand what they should be doing to prepare themselves. If you totally reject getting this microchip and going into the digital era, what are you doing to prepare yourself to not get the chip? You don't need to fight. All you need to do is step away, but you have to have things in place that are going to support you to step away. On the other hand, if you're accepting the digital era, which trust me, people are going to want to go into the digital era, it is not up to us to make them wrong for that. They can actually step into it ready and prepared. And that's the thing that they don't want. They don't want people to be prepared to step into the digital era prepared, because if not, they have control, or quote unquote control, over what gets to happen. And who's they? The people that have created this digital era. There's some very key players that have created it, and they're pushing that agenda. It's a promise that was made. This is all God. It's not to be feared. Just do your homework. In other words, what I'm saying is do your homework on what's about to happen, please, or don't. It's up to you guys, right? If you're not going to get a chip and people are like, hell no, I ain't getting a chip, what are you going to do? Fight? Why are you going to fight? You don't need to fight. If you opt out of their system and you're like, I'm not going to do this, and they coerce you into it, that's a different thing. But if you walk away peacefully and say, I choose out, the only reason that you would be afraid to walk out of this, right? The only reason that you would be fearful of of it is because you're not prepared to live outside the realms of the comfort of this particular structure. Living outside of this structure is going to be uncomfortable if you choose out. It's not going to be comfortable. Don't expect it to be the way it was before. You may not have any technology. You may be living completely off the land. And do you have those things in place? Are you prepared? If you had to walk away from this system, are you ready? You may not be, but it's going to come down to that, because let me just show you. They are already um in certain places, and they've already done this, you guys. This is not some crazy stuff that I'm making up. This is all happening. Okay, it's happening. They did a pilot project with people with their digital scan codes. They put the tag in them, and this particular place that these people work cannot work there unless they have their digital tag. Okay. And they use it to open the door, they use it to buy snacks, they use it for everything, and it's inside them. Okay, it's on their hand. They can't work there unless they have this chip. Okay, so here's the deal. It's slowly going to roll out. So basically, you can't. So think about it. Number one, let's just kind of think about the evolution and how they're programming us, or support, or changing our mindset so that we can accept it, right? Costco. You cannot go into Costco unless you have a mask on. That's not a choice. They're not giving you a choice. They're saying you have to. Okay, but I can't because I have asthma, I get sick, I blah blah blah, whatever. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Put the mask on or you can't come in this place. Now, I'm not mad about that because I just won't go there. I don't have a desire to go there. But let's look at the other locations, right? Not right now, it's not mandatory everywhere. Okay. So eventually we are going to see that these mandatory things are going to be made mandatory, and because they have taken over agriculture, they have taken over all the food. If you don't know how to grow your food, now you're dependent on the system 100%. So eventually you're either going to be maybe on the streets asking people to give you food on the outskirts. You're going to try to fight because you want to stay within the system without what's about to happen, and it's going to happen. Okay, it's not a matter of if, it's when. Okay. So are you preparing yourself? Now, this is not to put fear in you. It's not to be afraid, you guys. It's not to be afraid. It's for you to prepare for what's about to happen. Do your homework, do your research. Good morning, Suze. Okay. We have been given a gift of foresight. For those of you who follow, for those of you who believe, for those of you who are obsessed with God as much as me, who make it your every little second of every single day, will start to get the messages of what needs to happen for you to prepare. And it's okay for people who choose into the digital era. It's not up to us to make them wrong for it. Some people don't even know. Some people don't even know. They don't know they have a choice. They don't even know. Then you have people who kind of know, and they're like, I think something's off here. Something's not. Then you have the people who are like, okay, I'm ready. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm choosing not to, but not making the moves that they need to get themselves prepared. Then you have the people who are like, I choose in. I know that I'm choosing into this. I want to. This is what I want. And then you have these people who are like preparing, and they're like, okay, I'm prepared. I'm getting prepared. So you have a slew of individuals, a slew of different mindsets, a slew of different people. Here's what I believe that on the digital era, and if you choose into the digital era, it's not to be feared, it's reincarnation. You're basically reincarnating back into 3D world, back into another era. Your soul might need some more lessons and understanding. And if you choose not to, you're saying, I choose to ascend, and I choose not to be part of this reincarnation. And it's that simple, but it's a choice. And some people don't realize that they have a choice. And those are the people they're banking on that will not understand they have a choice. They won't prepare themselves to choose either one of them. And then, and then what I think, okay, and this is just what I think, okay, is that those that don't realize that they're choosing into reincarnation take that karma with them because they didn't awaken to understand. Now people will choose in powerfully into the next era. They'll choose in powerfully. Okay. And on the other end, people will choose into this other way powerfully. Now we know that if you looked at Buddha, if you looked at that Buddha walked over the rainbow bridge, right? He said, I'm not going to reincarnate. I don't want to. Thank you. I had fun on this plane. And now I'm going over the rainbow bridge. And others went with them. And some were like, nah, I don't want to. I think I'm going to stay over here. Was it wrong? No, no. Neither's wrong and neither's to be feared. Know that you're making a choice. Jesus Christ said, forgive them for they know not what they do. It's not because he was saying this because they didn't understand. They weren't, some people weren't awake enough to understand and hear God. They just couldn't because they weren't there yet. It wasn't a bad thing. Didn't make them wrong. It didn't mean that they were bad people. It just means that they maybe had more lessons to learn in life. This is a learning. Right here where we are, this dimension is a place to learn. It's a place to learn, it's a place to understand, and learn what? Learn who we are. Remember who we are. Experience this realm and say, oh, yeah, this was fun. Cool. I had fun. Oh, I didn't have so much fun. I want to redo it. Oh, I'm aware now that I can co-create this way, or I could do this. I want to choose in. I had a person the other day, I had a conversation the other day, said, I want to be part of the digital era. I want to be. I know that that's what I'm choosing. and they understood it. It's just a matter of you understanding that you're choosing into something powerfully. Don't just kind of choose in, and nobody can make you wrong for that. How could I make you wrong? That's judgment. I'm not here to judge. That's not my job. If you want to choose to be outside that system, okay, let's do it. Because I'm not going to come back. I don't want to. I don't want to participate in this crazy world again. No, thank you. I'm good. I love people. I love you. I hope that I could have given all that I could in this world, and that I taught, and that I gave love, and that I did what I did. But for me, I'm on the other spectrum. I will walk the rainbow bridge. Thank you. And I will gladly step away in peace and harmony, and I don't need to fight about it. I just know where my choices are, and that's it. That means that I have to get uncomfortable. That means that technology will probably go away because I'm not choosing into the technical era, meaning these podcasts will probably end, meaning that at least you guys will have my videos forever and ever and ever, hopefully, that support you. Hopefully, I've done my job to leave what I can behind, but I will leave it all. That's me. Doesn't have to be you, but I will, and I am. And I'm making what I need to do, I'm putting in place so that I can walk away. Okay. So, Auntie Christine, please tell me what Grandma said. What if the places don't take cash or use debit? That bothers me on a real. Okay, Suze, that's a great question. And I believe that if you have a choice, if you're choosing, you have to figure out what it is you're going to choose, first of all. Are you going to choose to stay in the natural world? Are you going to choose into the digital era? Now, there's two things that you can do. And I highly recommend for those of you that are choosing into the digital era, this could get me in trouble talking about this stuff. Maybe not. I don't know. I think other people are talking about it now. If you're going to choose into the digital era and you know that that's what you want to do, I highly recommend that you start reading up on um, digital currency. Don't be afraid by it. You're only afraid because you don't understand it. That's what I'm going to say. People are afraid of cryptocurrency, digital currency, Bitcoin, all this stuff. Don't be afraid of it. It's if you are choosing into the digital era and you're not looking into that, you're going to be I'm going to tell you you're not going to you're going to live a very unpleasant life is not going to be so good. It's going to be hard. Is that okay? Yes, because God will always be with you. It doesn't matter what you choose. God is all God. God is still with you. God is not leaving you. God is not abandoning you. That's not it. People think that, oh, if I go, I'm gonna be damned to hell. Now here's where I see this split. I don't think people are gonna be damned to hell. This is hell, in my opinion. Okay? My opinion. Sorry, a lot of opinions here today. But when we reincarnate into the 3D world, we're trapped in this body, we're trapped in this hell again. So for me, choosing into this just says you choose into a whole nother era. Your soul chooses into a whole nother era, right? Of this particular 3D dimension. Not to be afraid, right? It's not to be fearful. It's just to understand that you're choosing it. That's where people don't understand. They're choosing into it or not choosing into it. It's a choice. It's a choice. That's one thing that was given to us in this reality. It's a choice. We can choose. Now, our choices will sometimes be, there's consequences to the choices. We'll just say that. There's always a consequence to your choice, but you have choice. The consequence of walking away peacefully means that you will give up all the pleasures of this digital world. Okay? And in that, yeah, crazy how God's word is unfolding in front of our eyes. Absolutely. It was a promise given to us, right? It was promised. We knew it was coming. I knew it was coming my whole life. I've been preparing for this my whole life. That's why I do Spirit and Coffee. That's why I started it. I just didn't know how to give back to the world. Now, remembering that everything always comes back to love, always comes back to God, always, no matter what ends up, even in the digital era, even if you choose into reincarnation, there is nothing wrong with choosing into it. I want to keep telling you guys that over and over again because they will use fear to program you into the system. You don't need to be fearful. You just need to be educated and be wise about it. Okay? And yes, God is with you. This is all God. So bringing yourself back to love and to God always, always, always. That's what this platform was designed for. Now, here's the deal. Those of you that may not know why I created this platform, I'm going to say it again because there was some new viewers. I have old viewers. I have people who've left who probably are like, I'm sick of hearing her. I don't know. It doesn't, to me, again, it doesn't matter. I'm just here to leave information behind. But here's the deal. I created this platform because I said to myself, there's a dark web. There's dark matter in the web. Now, I want you guys to understand that history repeats itself, okay? The digital world is repeating the same thing that we repeated ages ago, okay? The digital world. This world is nothing new. It's already been, it just looks different, but the storyline is the same. It's no different. It's the same storyline. You just go back in history and you can see it's exactly the same storyline. You're like, oh, that's how prophets do it. They just know the storyline. They're not prophets, they're just pattern readers. Okay? They understand the patterns and then they speak about the patterns. Okay. So the what is to come, I lost my train of thought. Sorry guys. I'm like, what was I gonna say? Okay. I know it was important, so it should come back to me. So I'll just keep talking. In the digital era, in the digital world, we know that patterns repeat themselves. So understanding and looking at what has happened in the digital era right now is important, right? Oh, why I designed this. So we know that there's dark matter, right? There's dark energy in the web. There's something called the dark web. Okay. And this is where all of the corruption happens, okay? Corruption in terms of things that I believe break natural law, violate human rights and all this stuff, okay? So that happens. Now, I thought about the dark web and I thought, God, is anybody doing anything to insert love? Just love. Nothing else. No right, wrong, good or bad, but love. How do I create a platform that inserts love? Because if the dark matter should exist in the digital world, so should love. Because again, we're just recreating everything that we've had before, which is a duality, love and fear. That's it. It's very simple. Okay. It can get convoluted in all kinds of different ways, right? To get people and trap them and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Bring yourself back to love. So I designed this platform to be completely about love. So I had dark matter show up on my platform about 2 years ago, and it was trolls, and it was from the dark web, and they were saying hateful things, and people wanted to start to stand up and say bad things. And I said, don't, it's okay. We're not mad at them. We love them. To love the dark matter even, because unconditional love doesn't judge. It doesn't say that they're wrong. It says, I love you and I'm sorry that you're suffering. And I still see the light in you. And there's still a light that's there. And it's up to you to tap into it if you choose. But the choice is there. But it's not up to me to tell them that they're wrong for choosing darkness. It's just me to love them. And that's it. Period. End of story. I have people get on here and say, it's okay. I'm not mad at them. Why should I be? Forgive them for they know not what they do. This is just a platform of love, period. Unconditional love. Why? Because now I'm in the Akashic record. And even if my body doesn't remain, even if I choose to step out of the digital era and to ascend, that it doesn't matter because people will still have these videos. It's already in there. There's no way that they can try to get rid of them. But if computers talk to one another and computers pull information from all the data and the Akashic record that's there, guess what? My personality's already been inserted into this platform. Period. They can't take it away. It's there already. I've already put my fingerprint on it. Why? Because God said this is what you're going to do. And I said, okay, then I'll do it. That's it, right? Thanks. Thanks, Susan. So that's it. It's very simple. So for me, I'm saying here's the legacy I get to leave, a legacy of wisdom, right? I get to leave a legacy of wisdom. Oh, so it's cool. If people did, it is cool. And then you know what's cool is that if I'm away, people can still tap into these videos and they can try to get rid of them. But here's the deal. And this is even cooler, right? When you think about the digital era is cool. I think it's cool. I think that what they're trying to create is cool. I mean, there's always going to be this backlash of not so good stuff that happens out of it because it's a duality again. It's based on duality. That if that, let's say for instance, they're like, we're getting rid of her videos, blah blah, whatever. It doesn't matter because there's still a fingerprint in the digital world right now. I'm still inserted into it. Now, if a let's just say a robot, right, was pulling from the information from the web, was pulling from personality styles from the web, guess what? My personality has been inserted. So is yours. Everything that you do on these platforms is been recorded. And can a robot tap into that? Yes. Absolutely, because it's part of the brain. It's part of this big brain that's been created, okay? And it's all there. It's all there. It's up in the nebulous, like boom. It's all there, and it can tap into it, okay? And in that, that there would be a maybe a piece of me that still lives within this akashic record, and so that will be then inserted into some other form of digital things, and to remind people that even if they're going through some crazy shit when we enter into this craziness, that love will still be with you. God is always with you, always, 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 and it's not going away. So if they were trying to get rid of it, it's not. So there you go. It's still there. All and there's other people. Good morning, Irene. There's other people in this world that are doing the same thing. You can't get rid of it. Doesn't go away because we're because it's all knowing, right? God's all knowing. Of course God is. It's like it's like trying to get rid of I don't know, like I don't know, like the DNA that you I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like trying to get rid of everything, existence. You I mean you can't. It's not possible. You know, they can destroy the world, but can they really like blow up the world and kill it? No, because Mother Nature's a lot more powerful than we give her credit for. Number one, right? The universe itself. Come on, really? Like we think we're that powerful. Some of these people's egos is like bigger than, you know, they think they could save the world. Bill Gates. I'm sorry, I just have to keep circling back to that. He thinks he could save the world. He can't. It's not his job. That's not his job. He's afraid to die. That's my opinion of him. Sorry. I have opinions, a lot of opinions today, but he's afraid to die. That's what I've made out. People want to call him the devil. He's not the devil. He's a fearful. He's afraid that his brain will stop working and that he'll cease to exist. And he doesn't understand that he's everlasting. But he doesn't get that because, or maybe he does, but I never heard one thing about him being, you know, God or anything greater than him. It's all, I don't know, I've never heard of it. He just thinks he can solve everything, all the problems, and that's not his job. He's not the great architect of all this design. And he's trying to be the great architect of the digital world, and he can't be because guess what? There's so much information that's been inserted into computers that none of them have control, and none of them, it's all going to be false control again, over and over again. People are wanting to be like Pinky and the Brain. Today we're going to take over the world. Well, you can't really do that because guess what? There's a lot of different factors going on, and you don't get to decide that. And you're so insignificant. You're just this thing. You can't, you're so tiny compared to all of this vast thing. In one swoop of a hand, you'll be gone in this body. And if you put yourself in the digital world, there's already too much information because it's like the Akashic record. It's never going to go away. The Tower of Babel was created in the digital world. I don't think people know that either. History repeats itself. Digital era is just repeating the same story again. Okay. But it's going to look different. It's going to look vastly different. So get ready for a whole new way of things looking. Okay, so hopefully this was helpful. I do get some thrills and excitement out of it. I do want you guys not to be fearful. Please, 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 Suze, if you have more questions about where you're at in terms of choosing into the digital era or not, and have some stuff about like understanding currencies and monies and stuff like that. I think it's very critical that people start to pay attention to that now. Don't wait until it's too late for you. Okay, there's no need to do that. Be prepared. Okay, be prepared. Okay, God is the only one that ends the world because He's a creator of this world. Yeah, yes. And I don't believe it'll ever end. I don't think that that was the purpose of it anyway. I think we're God experiencing this world as an extension of God and a perception of what the world is. Nothing to be afraid of. Stop being afraid and do your research. Anytime you start doing research, the fear goes away because you start to say, oh, this is how I can create. This is how I can do this. This is, and then you start to get into your creative mode and start to prepare yourself. Okay. Some people are going to be totally thrown off again. Okay. They think that this is going to end and the markets are going to go back to the way they were. They will not. We're entering the digital era. I'm going to keep telling you guys that because that's what's happening. This is not Pisces anymore. We're in Aquarius. Okay? Understand what that means. Go do research. What does it mean to be in the era of Aquarius? What did the Mayans say about this era? What did they say about this world? How do I transcend from this world? How do I live in this world if I want to participate? What Ask yourself those questions. Go do your research, okay? All right. So, and I'll continue to give you as much information as I have. So again, it's exciting times. We have the opportunity to actually transcend the spirit into a source or to re-choose in powerfully into the new era. Okay. But choose powerfully in. Don't just choose because you're forced into it. Understand what it would mean for you to be choosing into it powerfully. Okay. All right. So I love you guys. Have a great day. And I will be seeing y'all tomorrow. Bye.